What's up, the John Squad? This is John Paolini here, your YouTube World Heavyweight Champion here on YouTube, and I'm coming to do my WWE Monday Night Raw recap for June 22nd, 2020. So let's do the show, the John Squad. So we kicked off WWE Monday Night Raw last night with Drew McIntyre, and he talks about last week when R-Truth accepted his WWE Championship to be on the line in a tag team match. So then, so then what happens next is that Dolph Ziggler comes out and he says to Drew that he was traded to Raw in the trade that when AJ Styles went over to SmackDown. That's what he says, and talks to Drew that he should have been him. That if it weren't for him, that Drew would not be WWE champion. So that they were a dominant tag team, and that he would not have been WWE champion, and because of him, and that Dolph Ziggler says that he needs to be WWE champion. So then he Drew McIntyre makes a challenge for at Extreme Rules that it's going to be him versus Dolph Ziggler. So then Drew talks to Dolph and challenges him to a match at Extreme Rules, and that match is official. So we're getting Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at Extreme Rules in 3 weeks. So then the first match we had on Monday Night Raw, well, we were going to have the first match on Raw, but then we had was Nia Jax comes out and sits in a chair, and then then R-Truth comes out and talks about the 24/7 European Championship belt, talks about the 24/7 Championship belt to Nia Jax. But then Charlotte Flair comes out and has a brawl with Nia Jax, and that leads to all chaos. But then the first match on Raw was a Raw Tag Team Championship match. That was the Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits. And the winner was, and still Raw Tag Team Champions, is the Street Profits. Then after the match, Andrade and Angel Garza come out and attack the Street Profits, and the Viking Raiders make the save. Then the second match you had on Raw was a Raw Women's Championship match. Asuka versus Charlotte Flair, and the winner was and still Raw Women's Champion, Asuka. Then we had Edge, who talks about Randy Orton was the winner at Backlash, and how he tore his tricep from bone to bone, and then he talks about how Randy Orton low blowed him during the Backlash match, and that he is disappointed, and that he is not going to happen. You know, that's what Edge talks about basically, and that he has a and then he talks about his friend Christian, and how Randy Orton talks about his guts and stuff like that, and how Randy Orton is now the Legend Killer and stuff like that. How Randy Orton brought back the Legend Killer, and then how Randy Orton punt Edge at Backlash and stuff like that, and then now Randy Orton brought back the Rated R Superstar Edge. So that's what Edge talked about. So the third match you had on Raw was a 24/7 championship match. Akira Tozawa versus R-Truth. But before the match begins, Bobby Lashley comes out and takes out all the ninjas, and Akira Tozawa goes underneath the ring and hides, right? So then Bobby Lashley puts the Full Nelson onto R-Truth and lays him out flat into the ring. Then Akira Tozawa comes creeping back into the ring, and 1, 2, 3, we have a new 24/7 champion, and that is Akira Tozawa. So then the next match on Raw was Natalya versus Liv Morgan, and by the way, Natalya is now with Lana, and the winner was Natalya. Then we have Ric Flair, who was going to announce Randy Orton as the greatest wrestler ever, and Ric Flair, and he talks about that today, that greatest wrestler today is Randy Orton, and how Edge and Christian, or how he beat Edge and Christian, and how Orton comes out, and you know how Orton comes out, and Orton comes out and talks to Ric Flair and says that how he is the best, and that's what he basically talks about. He is the best wrestler, and stuff like that, and WWE, and Orton talks to um, Ric Flair, and that's what basically Orton talks about is Ric Flair, and talks about Edge and Christian basically, and so that's what he just talks about. So then the Big Show comes out and says enough, enough, and how he and how he talks about the Big Show comes out and talks about talks about to Randy Orton that Edge and Christian are his friends. So then Randy Orton cuts him off and just tells him that he is a future Hall of Famer and how he's a legend, and how basically Orton just talks to the Big Show, and the Big Show wants a match with Randy Orton, and the Big Show wanted a match with Orton, but that does not happen at all. Basically, that does not happen, and Orton backs away and takes Ric Flair with him, and that's what happens to end the segment. So then, the fifth match we had on Raw was a women's tag team championship match. The Iconics versus Sasha Banks and Bayley, and the winner was and still our women's tag team champion, Sasha Banks and Bayley. After the match was over, Asuka comes out and Sasha Banks challenges Asuka to a Raw Women's Championship match at Extreme Rules, and that is made official. So then we have the MVP VIP Lounge, and MVP introduces Apollo Crews, and MVP talks to Apollo Crews, and and he wants a, Apollo Crews to join his group, and Apollo Crews says no to MVP, and so MVP says that he's coming for the United States Championship title. That's what he says, and so then Shelton Benjamin comes out and beats up on Apollo Crews after sneak attacking him. So that's what happens there. So then another match we had on Raw was Shelton Benjamin versus Apollo Crews, and the winner was Apollo Crews. After the match is over, Bobby Lashley comes out and puts the full Nelson onto Apollo Crews and lays him out. So the final part we had on Raw was Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic, and Rey Mysterio talks about one of the most things was last Monday on Raw where he couldn't get a hold of your child, and talks about last Monday that his son got out of a 3-on-1 situation and that he is angry at him. I would be too, but he's angry at him, and how it is time for him to fight for him and doing it himself. So Dominic tells him that he's not leaving his father and that he is not going anywhere. So then Seth Rollins comes out and talks to Dominic and Ray and says that you want a fight that he does not know what to do, and that there is destiny, two eyes for better than one. So then one many, and then next thing you know it is that Seth Rollins gets down on his knees, and out comes Murphy and Austin Theory, and next thing you know it is Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo come out and attack Murphy and Austin Theory from behind, and they all start to brawl all around the ring and stuff. Then Seth Rollins is left alone, and Rey Mysterio 619's Seth Rollins, right? The 619 Seth Rollins. Then Seth Rollins is all left alone for a while, and they all four of them grab Seth Rollins and tried to do what he did to Rey Mysterio a couple weeks ago. Try to put him, try to put his eye right into the steel steps, but then Murphy and Austin Theory make the save, and then Seth Rollins tries to put Rey Mysterio's son Dominic into the steel steps, and when Seth Rollins did that to Rey Mysterio, but then Seth Rollins, Murphy, and Austin Theory escape, and Rey Mysterio, Dominic, Aleister Black, and Humberto Carrillo stand tall with Seth Rollins and Murphy and Austin Theory on top of the rim, just looking at all four of them. So now it's a 4-on-3 situation for Seth Rollins' group. So I don't know who Seth Rollins is going to get at his third member of the Disciples, so we'll have to wait and see. So anyway, that's how Monday Night Raw ends last night, and that was my WWE Monday Night Raw recap from last night for June 22nd, 2020. So anyway, once again, the John Squad, thank you for joining me here on my WWE Monday Night Raw recap for June 22nd, 2020. We're all in this together. Anyway, once again, when you subscribe, you become a champion here on this channel. You mean a lot to me, the John Squad. I love each and every single one of you guys. You mean a lot to me. So once again, please like this video, leave your comments down below, and subscribe for more. Peace out, the John Squad. I love you guys.